Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We're alive. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a one in the live chat and then we can get today's stream started. I'm only 3 minutes late. Kelly Goodman, I'm only 3 minutes late. But if you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a one in the live chat and we get today's stream started. As I'm waiting for the ones to come into the chat, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that it helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications. And it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, I see you ghost watchers, right? Or if you're new to the channel, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video, or go live. And lastly, please share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends to inform them of this news and information, to spread this video out, let everyone know that I'm live. And it does also help to give me a slight boost in YouTube algorithm as well. And with the ones coming in, the ones finally coming in, we can get today's show started. So I want to talk about a good friend of the show here, right? Our friend, our buddy, our pal, our big homie, Charlamagne the God. Charlamagne the God. I haven't spoken on him in a while, not because he hasn't been active. He's out here doing his thing, just campaigning for Biden while pretending not to. But I haven't focused much on him lately because there just hasn't been really much to say. It would just be more of the same. But after I came across this interview that he did with the New York Times accidentally, I just had to speak on it. I had to touch on it. I had to speak on it, and I couldn't let it go by. Like, first thing is the first, right? We have to understand that Charlamagne the God is a very valuable asset to the Democrat Party because he has been given a very large platform to speak on. He speaks primarily to the Black American audience and the Black American voter, and they're looking to protect their asset. As Black America, it appears, right, that they are very disgruntled with the Democratic Party or Democrat Party. I always say Democratic Party with the Democrat Party, and for the most part, kind of have a sour taste in their mouth with the Democrats currently. We'll see how that pans out come November. What they're doing now is that they have Charlamagne on this campaign to be more relatable to the common everyday Black man by playing what our good friend Rob from Black Light Revelations 2 would say is the skeptic grift, right? He referred to it as the skeptic grift, where he's pretending to be skeptical of the Democratic Party. He's pretending to hold Biden accountable. He's pretending as if he's undecided and he may or may not vote, because he's just so irritated with the Democrats because they're always taking the Black vote for granted. So I don't know. Maybe this time I'm going to have to sit this one out. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to hold you accountable, Biden. But as he's playing this role, he is simultaneously campaigning for Biden at the same time, right? And they have him everywhere doing this. He's been on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, News Nation, and for the most part, at least at the beginning of the year, I covered most of it. Like I said, I cooled down with a lot of it, but when I came across this New York Times article, I just had to speak on it because when you listen to it, because it was an interview that's an audio format, but then there's also the interview that you can read, and that's what I'm going to go through, right, is the portion you can read, because I'm not going to play that podcast because I don't think I can. But when you listen to that podcast, the way they introduce Charlamagne, oh my God, this man is the Black Messiah. The way that they exalted him in the introduction of the New York Times interview on the podcast form that they did, this man is the Black Messiah. He is this amazing, phenomenal Black political figure who is so important to the Black community. I don't know what we would do without his voice speaking for us politically, right? So when I saw the way the New York Times was exalting him, I just had to address it. I had to address it and just pick apart the obvious as it pertains to his hypocrisy and how he's really just campaigning for the Biden administration while pretending not to. Now, first thing is this, we have to understand is that Charlamagne the God is a dishonest individual. He's extremely dishonest. And I wanted to play two clips for you right now that prove that point, how dishonest he is, before we go into the actual interview, right? This clip you've seen many times before. I've played multiple times before. It's the clip of Charlamagne the God. And I think this is probably the most important clip that I have of him on here, because he shouldn't be able to walk around anywhere in New York or anywhere in the country without having to answer for this. In this very clip right here that I'm going to play for you, this is the clip that I've played multiple times where he literally admits that Trump is better for the black community than Biden. He admits that Biden has done worse to the black community than Donald Trump has ever done, yet sent you on a dummy mission after saying this to go vote for Biden. So let's play this very quickly. And shout out to my man Saul for always coming through. I appreciate you, bro, for always coming through every stream. He said, just here to show support. Thank you, bro. I don't know if without your $5 every stream, I'd be struggling out here. So I appreciate you, bro. Thank you very much. And let's get into this clip right here.
So when they put all those police in our neighborhood and they hit us with those harsh sentences for whether it's the 94 crime bill, the 88 crack laws, they can justify that based off this is where all the trouble is at. This is where all the problems is at. You seen Joe Biden stand on the Senate floor and say that verbatim. He was like, I don't care about the conditions that cause these predators to become predators. We need to fix this now, because if we don't, they're going to end up killing our moms and our fathers and our brothers and our sisters.
Is Joe Biden good?
Nah, it's tough.
I got questions.
I think he's a good guy with bad on him.
Man,
What?
He got some bad on him.
I say it all the time. Joe Biden has done worse things to black people than Donald Trump ever has.
For real?
Hell yeah, man. The 88 crack laws? Like,
Educate me.
He passed the 88.
He did the 88 crack laws, which
Let's listen to that one more time.
done worse things to black people.
Bad on him.
I say it all the time. Joe Biden has done worse things to black people than Donald Trump ever has. I say it all the time. Joe Biden has done worse things to black people than Donald Trump ever has. I say it all the time. Joe Biden has done worse things to black people than Donald Trump ever has.
For real?
Hell yeah, man. The 88 crack laws? Like,
Educate me.
He passed the 88.
He did the 88 crack laws with Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond was a mother racial segregationist from South Carolina.
So clearly he knew better, but still sent Black America off on a dummy mission to vote for Joe Biden anyway, despite openly knowing better, openly knowing that Biden has done worse to black people than Donald Trump has ever done. And why did he send you off on a dummy mission? Well, apparently we needed a black female vice president. Now, we didn't get a black female vice president. We had to settle for an Indian woman who's passing for black. But nonetheless, you know, apparently that's what we needed. So that was all the justification that Charlamagne needed to send you all off on a dummy mission.
Real quick, because I have a couple more things I want to talk to you, if you can give me a quick answer. Do you think that Kamala Harris on the ticket, do you think Senator Harris, does that help with black men and women?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when we were pushing for, you know, Joe Biden to pick a black woman as his VP, you know, Senator Harris was who I had in mind, and I'm voting for Kamala Harris. I'll tell you that in a heartbeat. I'm not necessarily voting for Joe Biden. I'm voting.
Gotta love that black leadership, man. Gotta love that mainstream black leadership from our black messiah, Charlamagne the God. He didn't vote for Kamala. He didn't vote for Joe Biden for president. He voted for Senator Kamala Harris to be president. Now, she wasn't running for president anymore. Her campaign completely collapsed before things could even get started. But yeah, I'm going to vote for this Indian woman who's passing as black. And I'm voting for her for president, not for Biden, even though she's not the one that's on the ticket running for president.
Woman as his VP, you know, Senator Harris was who I had in mind, and I'm voting for Kamala Harris. I'll tell you that in a heartbeat. I'm not necessarily voting for Joe Biden. I'm voting for Senator Kamala Harris.
Well, you got your, don't you have your voting, your ballot right there?
I do, actually. I showed you this before we got on, but I do.
You just showed me the envelope, but I don't know what's in there.
Listen, I'm voting for Senator Kamala Harris. You know, I believe Kamala's a political change agent. I think she's exactly the leader this country needs to lead us in the future. If she's not, then I'll just be wrong. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Don. I'm just so tired of, like, old white male leadership in politics.
Looks like you were wrong, Charlamagne. looks like you are wrong, and you know that you're wrong, and the DNC understands the sentiments of Black America and understands that they feel that you're wrong. That's why they now have you on this campaign to be a little bit more relatable to Black folks by now pretending to be a skeptic of the Democratic Party while campaigning for them simultaneously. And we're going to get into that right now in this New York Times article. But before we do that, shout out to my man Jerry Early for always showing up as well. I appreciate you. He said, thank you, TDMG, Big Island, Hawaii. We know my man Jerry's chilling in Hawaii, you know, so I appreciate you from way out there in Hawaii, always showing support, Jerry Early. Thank you very much. Now let's get into this New York Times article, because like I said, this is what really made me want to speak on him today, though I haven't spoken on him in quite some time now. I want to pull up the actual article first, and it might slow down. It might have me a little glitchy, but it's worth it so that you can see this video that they have of Charlamagne at the top of this New York Times article. It's hilarious. He's giving off, you know, Martin Luther King, you know, kind of Malcolm X classic black and white photo vibes, you know, of the 1960s, as if he's someone of, you know, importance, true importance. So look at this here. Look at this here. I found this extremely humorous, extremely humorous. Look at this right here, man. Oh, look at this slow. Let me make it bigger for you guys. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see this. Let me remove this stuff off the screen. Shout out to Tom Slick. I appreciate you. I'm gonna shout you out in a minute, Tom Slick. But I have to remove everything off the screen so you can get the full, you know, effect of what's going on here and how they have him out here as the Black Messiah. Look at that. He has, you know, the hands together in a very serious pose, in deep thought and deep meditation. It's rough out here being the Black Messiah, you know, and leading Black America to the promised land, politically speaking, that is. So I have my hands together in deep thought, in the black and white silhouette to give you all the 1960s civil rights vibes, the Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers vibes, because that's where I belong with the pantheon greats of Black American history. Charlamagne belongs up there because, once again, he is the Black Messiah, right? He's 100% the Black Messiah. So now I want to pull this down and I want to get into the actual article, right? So let me go into the actual articles. Like I said, this is kind of slowing me down a little bit. So let me pull this up now and zoom in a little bit. And then let's get into this. And as you can see here, the interview, Charlamagne the God won't take sides. He won't take a side, ladies and gentlemen. He won't take a side. So now, before we get into this, there are 380 of you in the stream right now. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. And let me honor my man Tom Slick with the shout out. Thank you. I appreciate you, Tom Slick. You wrong and done. Thank you, Tom Slick. I appreciate you for coming through, as you always do. Thank you, bro. And he ran it back one more time. He said, "Black man, please." Man, he's our Black Messiah, Tom Slick. You better respect the Black Messiah, Charlamagne the God. Okay, put some respect on the Black Messiah's name. All right, put some respect on his name. So now let's dive into this. Now let's get into this right now. This article here, just so we can see just once again the hypocrisy behind everything that he's supposedly standing for in this moment, which is nothing. He's not really standing on anything but the DNC. So it starts out by saying polling shows declining support for the Democrat Party among Black men. And this time around, Charlamagne has said he won't endorse anyone and has been outspoken in his criticism of Biden and the Democrats, leading to question about where he stands politically and what he wants to do with his significant platform. Now, always remember, it's not his platform, it's iHeart's platform. And that platform can be taken away from him at any day, any time, any moment now if he stops playing ball. Remember, as he's on this campaign of criticizing Biden and the Democrats, as they state here, this is a campaign that they are putting him on in order to preserve and save their assets, so he doesn't look like a complete goofball after sending you off on a dummy mission to vote for Biden, just for you all to have a sour taste in your mouth right now for Biden, and then he turns around and tells you, "Oh well, you just got to vote for them again, just because," right? He's like I said, he's out right now on this fake campaign, and we're going to get into that right now. So let's go down. And also, the link to this interview is going to be in the description box below once the stream is over, if you want to read it for yourself. And I suggest that you do. Anytime you see me going over information here, I always make sure to leave the link of the full article or videos that I go through in the description box below, so you can go through it yourself. That's very important that you do that. Okay. So the interviewer asked, what I found interesting about all the comments in this thing, and when she says this thing, they were speaking about Charlamagne's comments concerning DEI programs, diversity, what is it, equity and inclusion, the DEI programs that he spoke out against jokingly, but people on the left were upset about, right? So that's what she's alluding to. So once again, but what I found interesting about all the comments in this thing that happens with you a lot, which is people wondering, as they have for a while, what is Charlamagne the God all about? Where does he stand politically? Charlamagne replies, that's so funny you say that. I promise you, I was walking here. This white guy stops me on the street. He had on glasses, some khakis, a sweater, and he goes, you're Charlamagne, right? And I go, yeah. And he goes, man, I like when you talk politics. I think there's going to be a civil war in this country. That's what you, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, here we go already. Let's start over. Jesus Christ. He had on glasses, some khakis, a sweater, and he goes, you're Charlamagne, right? And I go, yeah. And he goes, man, I like when you talk politics. I think there's going to be a civil war in this country. And that's what you need to talk about. Now, I had this highlighted in blue is because when I read this part here, that's what makes this all suspicious. And it leads me to believe, in my opinion, I assume, allegedly, this story that he's telling is a lie. What he's saying is a lie. Because you heard what he just said, right? He said, man, I like when you talk politics. I think there's going to be a civil war in this country. That's what you need to talk about. He proceeded to say, I don't care who wins. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. I feel like it's going to be a civil war in this country. And he goes, you know, which side are you on? And I'm like, I'm not on any side. That literally makes no sense to me. How does a random white man apparently walked up to you today on your way to do this interview? He tells you, I like when you talk politics. He proceeds to say, I think there's going to be a civil war and you should talk about that. He then goes on to further say, I don't care who wins. I don't care if it's Biden and I don't care if it's Trump, but I think there's going to be a civil war. What side are you on? Is it just me? Or does that sequence of events as it pertains to what this alleged white man said to him not make any sense? It doesn't make sense that someone who does not care about who wins, you don't care either way, is then asking someone, what side are you on in this civil war that I don't really care about because I don't care what side wins, but what side are you on? Is it just me or does that sound ridiculous? Is it just me or does that sound made up? It sounds nonsensical. I want to read it one more time very quickly. All right. He had on glasses, some khakis, a sweater, and he goes, you're Charlamagne, right? And I go, yeah. And he goes, man, I like when you talk politics. I think there's going to be a civil war in this country. That's what you need to talk about. He said, I don't care who wins. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. I feel like it's going to be a civil war in this country. And he goes, you know, which side are you on? And I'm like, I'm not on any side. That sounds completely retarded. It sounds completely retarded and made up. And it sounds like a story that he made up to justify what he's getting ready to say next. And I think that's the problem with American politics, or just America, period. People think if, as a black man, I criticize Democrats, then I'm supporting MAGA. But if I criticize Donald Trump and Republicans, then I'm a Democratic shill. Why can't I just be a person who who deals in nuance, because you're not dealing in nuance. We know you're a Democrat shield because throughout the entirety of your history on air, through your persona as Charlamagne the God, from the moment you started talking politics, you were always tap dancing for the DNC. That's why you're a clear Democrat shill. And we all see through the fact that now you're playing the role of a skeptic to be slightly more relatable, so that you can come off as being more relatable to the greater, larger Black population, so that you can still save face and have some sort of credibility within the Black community. Everybody sees through it. But, I digress. He continues to say, why can't I be a person who deals in nuance? Because you're not dealing in nuance. We all know what side you're on. He said, what happened to just being objective and seeing things from both sides? Have you ever heard Charlamagne see anything from the, quote, right side? Has he ever seen anything from the conservative side or the Republican side? We've never heard anything of that nature coming out of his mouth as it pertains to politics. So that lets you know right then and there, he's talking foolishness. He's running game, because nothing is all right and nothing is all wrong either. Now let's carry on. The interviewer asks, well, I think what people would probably answer is that the rise of Trump has really polarized people. And so to say, oh, I don't take a side, some people, especially on the left, would say, well, that's not right either. Charlamagne replies, why? I think we do ourselves a grave disservice by thinking I can't criticize Democrats and I can't criticize Republicans and still know who I want to vote for in November in order to preserve democracy. I have that highlighted because that's a DNC talking point. I can criticize both, but still know who I want to vote for in order to preserve democracy. Let's carry on. He's spotting talking points already. There's not a show I've been on when they ask me about Donald Trump, I say the same thing. He's a threat to democracy. He literally said, let's suspend the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. You saw his lawyers in the court saying, well, he never agreed to support the Constitution. He led an insurrection on this country on January 6th. And people just act like, it was a bunch of kids wilding out on spring break in Miami. So he's clearly attacking Trump right now, and that's fine. But the point is he going to have that same energy for Joe Biden right now because he's supposed to be holding Biden accountable, right? Well, let's see. I say these things over and over again, but if ABC News reporter John Carl says to me, well, President Biden says these things about Donald Trump, why do you think it resonates? Or why don't you think it resonates? And that's important too, because John Carl just stated, you think the same way Joe Biden does. So essentially, why aren't you endorsing Biden if you guys think the same way? And if you think the same way, then obviously all Black people should be thinking the same way because you are the Black Messiah. So why isn't that message resonating? And Charlamagne's answer was this. This is the most unintelligent thing I've ever heard in my life. He said, because he's an uninspiring candidate who does not have any main character energy. What does that even mean? What does that mean? Once again, this clearly goes to show you that he's campaigning for the Biden administration. When it was time to hold both to task and it was time to critique both, he's sitting here telling you about Donald Trump in January 6th, the election, all his cases. He has every single critique in the book for Trump. He listed them all, about 5, 6, 7 of them. And that's cool. But when it came time to critique Joe Biden, he just doesn't have main character energy. What does that mean? What does that mean? And this is the guy who's exalted as the Black Messiah, this great Black political figure, who speaks for Black America when it comes to politics. Every president runs through him. Every president or possible would-be president, at least on a Democrat Party side, runs through Charlamagne the God. That's been true since 2016 now. Been true since 2016. If you want to be president of the United States and you want to speak to black folks, you have to go through Charlamagne the God. Am I lying? I'm not. I'm not. But we clearly see who he's campaigning for. It's very obvious and it's clear as day. When it comes to critiquing Trump, he has a whole list of critiques. When it comes to critiquing Biden, he just doesn't have main character energy. That's why I don't want to vote. That's why I'm not so sure about Biden. He did the main character energy. It just isn't there, just isn't there. Shout out to Marcus Majors. He says Charlamagne the Goddess is a professional fence rider, allegedly. That's what he's attempting to do right now. He's attempting to ride the fence, because when you ride the fence, then you're never wrong about anything. You can't be wrong about anything when you always allegedly are shooting straight down the middle. But he clearly isn't shooting straight down the middle. But that's what he's aiming for, to ride the fence so that he can't be wrong about anything this time, the way that he was wrong, right, about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris the first time around, even though he knew better, because I played the clip for you earlier concerning when he stated that Trump was far better for Black Americans and that Biden has done far worse to Black Americans than Trump. He said it out of his mouth and then turned around and told you to vote for Biden anyways. And now he's trying to save face. Thank you very much, though, Marcus Majors, for your contribution to the channel. And let's carry on with this article here. Oops. I'm sorry. Give me just a second. Okay. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. I think I should zoom in a little bit for you guys, too, just so you can read along with me. So he says Biden doesn't have main character energy, apparently. He doesn't have main character energy. The right will take that clip and say Charlamagne says Joe Biden is an uninspiring candidate who has no main character energy. And once again, everybody on the left attacks the narrative instead of going to watch the interview and taking the narrative they should be using, which is Charlamagne says Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. We are insane right now. I blame the media so much for what's happening. Once again, he goes right back to giving critique to Trump and saying that he's a threat to democracy. What has he said about Joe Biden that's a valid critique outside of the fact that apparently he doesn't have main character energy? Nothing. And he never does. There's never a critique for Biden outside of the main character energy comment. But when it comes to Trump, he's the Antichrist. That is how you campaign for Biden while pretending not to campaign for Biden, right? One guy just doesn't have main character energy. The other one is the devil in a red tie. Now, the interviewer goes on to say, you are the media, right? Because Charlamagne says, I blame the media for what's happening. And the interviewer goes, you are the media. What are you talking about? Goofy? And he replies, yes. But I look at what I'm doing, I'm being objective. I repeat, let me read that again. He said, yes, but look at what I'm doing. I'm being objective. No, you're not being objective. You're being dishonest. You're being extremely dishonest. And he went on to say, I tell people all the time, and here's where he tells on himself again, because he's dishonest. I tell people all the time, if you lie to them about Democrats, they won't believe you when you tell the truth about Republicans. I repeat, Charlamagne stated, if you lie to them about Democrats, they won't believe you when you tell the truth about Republicans. So why would I sit there and lie to people about the flaws I see with the Democrat Party? Once again, another direct attack towards Republicans, another direct attack towards Trump. And that's fine. My point is that's cool if that's what you're actually standing on, if that's what you actually believes. But throughout the entirety of this interview, to which we haven't even gone through all of it yet, and we're not going to because it's long, but throughout the entirety of this interview, he's posturing himself as if he's an independent who's in the middle and a straight shooter who isn't taking sides, who is operating in nuance and being objective, yet at the same time consistently takes direct shots at Republicans, conservatives, and Trump. While when it comes to Joe Biden, he just doesn't have main character energy. He doesn't have any main character energy. That's the problem with this guy. Let's keep going because we're about to wrap this up right now. I think I have one more portion highlighted here. Yeah. And then we're going to shut this thing down. The interviewer asked or stated, a lot has been made of polls showing Black support for Democrats catering. A lot has been made of polls showing Black support for the Democrats cratering. You've been asked about this a lot. I'm wondering what you're thinking as more and more of these polls keep showing the same thing. Charlamagne responded, I think you might see a slight uptick in Black people voting for Trump this year, but I think it's overstated. This election, there's three options: Republicans, who are the crooks; Democrats, who are the cowards because they don't fight enough for anything; and then the couch. You see, I have once again Republicans highlighted in green. Because once again, when it comes time to critique Democrats, he never gives an honest critique while pretending to. Republicans are the crooks and Democrats are just the cowards, and if they would just, get up out of their cowardice, and if we would vote for the right Democrats, like more people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, then the Democratic Party will be moving in the right direction. But they are the crooks, the evil, wicked demons, Republicans. There are the Democrats who are the little cowards who just need a little, help in getting their courage up. And then there's the couch. You can vote for nobody. Those are the three options. This is probably the most, and what I'm about to say is going to sound cliche, this is probably the most consequential election of my lifetime. I'm not going to say of all time, but it's hard to get people to believe that, because we say that about every presidential election because every Republican candidate has been demonized. So now, what you really do, when you really do have a wolf out there, you look like the party who cried wolf because you put everything on the same scale. This Donald Trump guy is different. Even though we already had him for 4 years, but apparently he's different this time. I don't know. I guess he, if he's transformed into his final form, I don't know if we're seeing the final form of Trump now, but apparently he's different this time. But it's hard to explain that to people because people have been hearing that it's an end of democracy every time there's a Republican presidential candidate. What is he doing? He's admitting the fact that all we do is fearmonger you to death. And apparently this time Trump has gone, ultra instinct, right? He's reached his final form. He's turning to Golden Trump. For those of you who know your Dragon Ball Super or whatnot, like Golden Frieza, he's Golden Trump now. He's reached his final form. And now that he's reached his final form, nobody believes you when you say democracy is really, really, really on the line this time. I know we say that every time a Republican runs for office. I know we demonize every Republican, but this time, democracy is really, 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 really on the line. He's expressing to you the fact that the fear-mongering isn't working this time. It isn't working. And he doesn't really know what to do about it. No one really knows what to do about it. And that's reflecting in the polls as well. Literally every poll that you see, it seems like every poll that you see, Biden is getting crushed. And apparently this time around, Trump has transformed into his final form, Orange Trump, his final form, his most powerful form. And we're supposed to be really, really, really afraid this time, but it's not happening. And that's posing an issue for them. It's posing an issue, and it's a problem that I don't believe that the DNC is going to be able to solve. I don't think they're going to be able to solve this problem. But Charlamagne is doing his darndest to help them solve this problem. by getting out here and continuously demonizing Trump, demonizing the Republicans, demonizing conservatives, while pretending to simultaneously critique the Democrats and pretending to operate in nuance and pretending to be an independent, all of which he is none of. He's a Democrat shill. And this interview proves it, just as every time he opens his mouth, he proves it over and over and over again. And once again, I don't have a problem with you being a Democrat shill. If you want to tap dance for Democrats, that's fine. John Legend is an unapologetic Democrat shill. John Legend, he hams it up for the DNC unapologetically. And I respect him for it. I disagree with him, but I respect him for it because, you know, he stands on what he stands on. You know, so I can't be mad at any man who stands on what they stand on unapologetically, right? But when it comes to Charlamagne, he literally never does that. He never does that. He's no John Legend. You know, John Legend is as wrong as two left shoes, but he stands on what he stands on concerning the DNC. Charlamagne, on the other hand, is literally playing a role. He's playing the role of skeptic, and it's a dishonest role at that. So with all that being said, that does it for today's stream. I'm going to leave the link to this article in the description box below once the interview is over. Y'all are going crazy with like, it looked like the final forms of Trump. Great ape Trump. You guys got to know like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and all that kind of stuff to know what he means by great ape Trump, not great ape Trump. They forgot to cut the tail off. They didn't cut his tail off. It was a full moon, and you know, Great Ape Trump came out. You know what I mean? That's funny. But anyways, man, I want to thank you all for joining me today. Thank you all for joining me. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. Follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below. And it will be pinned in the comment section once this stream is over as well. That's funny. Great ape Trump. Yeah, Trump has reached his final form, man. He's reached his final form. And he's gonna get us all. Remember what Maxine Waters says. Maxine Waters said that, you know, Trump has reached his final form. Great ape Trump. He has his militia in the hills of Chicago right now, the hills of New York City. They're training to descend down on the black population and attack us, apparently, if Trump loses this election. So we should be very afraid this time. All right? I'm not afraid. One of you guys are. Anyways, I'll let you guys meditate on that. I'm out of here, man. Have a good one. Peace.